Do you have trouble finding inspiration or staying motivated to draw or paint? Do you have bad days where you're having artist block? In this video, I'm going to talk about how I come up with ideas for my own artwork and how I get motivated and stay motivated to continue drawing and painting. I'm Kirsty Rebecca and I make drawing and painting tutorials that are easy to follow even if you're just starting out. The drawing time-lapse in the background was created using water-soluble graphite pencils. They're by Faber-Castell and I think they're called Graphite Aquarelle. And I'll let you know what I thought of them briefly at the end of this video. So there are a lot of different reasons why you could be uninspired or not motivated to draw or paint. And there could be a lot of ways that you can motivate yourself or inspire yourself to draw or paint. In this video, I'm just going to talk about the ways that I motivate myself and the ways that I inspire myself to draw and paint. And this may not work for you, but I just wanted to have a chat with you guys just in case it does actually help anyone else out. So in terms of knowing what to draw or paint, there are a few things that help me out. I follow a lot of artists on social media and I actually screenshot any artwork that I really like the look of, and I keep them in a folder on my phone or computer to look at for inspiration. Obviously you don't want to copy other people's artwork, but if you really like the color palette or the subject matter or something about the work, you might be able to use that inspiration to include some of those features in your own artwork. I find that looking at paintings or drawings that I really admire, it pushes me to get to that skill level. So it's not impossible to get there because someone else is already doing it. So I know that I just have to keep practicing and put in the time to learn how to make my art look better than what it is. So that's a really big motivation for me to keep going back to the easel and practicing my own artwork. I'm always looking to achieve that next level and trying to improve my artwork a little bit more. So by looking at other people's artwork that I find looks better than my own, that really pushes me to get back to the easel and start again. If I get an idea of something that I want to draw or paint, I write a list in my phone or on an app called Trello. And this isn't sponsored, but I use Trello a lot because you can add photos or documents or to-do lists and things like that. So sometimes I have a reference photo I like and I'll add notes about what I want to change about it. Or I'll get an idea that I want to try a certain medium or technique, so I'll write that down as well. And I write these ideas down every time that they come to my mind throughout my days or my weeks, so that when I come to start a new project, I have a bank of ideas I can pull from and I'm not just staring at a blank canvas. I find that when I'm staring at a blank canvas, it can be really hard to come up with an idea. So having this backup of ideas already in my phone or on Trello really helps me make the next step to get started on the next piece of artwork. Another thing that I do on a regular basis is browse royalty-free reference photo websites, and there are a few free websites like Pixabay, Unsplash or Pexels where there are thousands of photos that you can use for your artwork. I'll leave a link in the description to all of those below as well. And there are also some great paid websites like wildlifereferencephotos.com where they have a lot of really amazing photos for a very reasonable price, so I'd really recommend that website as well. And when I'm scrolling through hundreds of photos that I could potentially draw one day, I always look for photos that stand out to me. And sometimes it's really good lighting, so the contrast is very interesting. Sometimes it's a weird looking animal that would make an interesting subject. Sometimes the eyes of the animal look so soulful that I just want to draw it. And I download anything that I like the look of and I add it to a folder on my computer. And then I can always pull up that folder and choose something from there to draw when I get stuck. If you're really just feeling uninspired to get to your easel and start drawing or painting, another option, if you're like me, is to spend some time outside and practice sketching. I always find that going outside really refreshes my mind and it can be a lot of fun to spend a few minutes doing a quick sketch which you can use for inspiration for a bigger project if you like. So you can go to a park or a zoo and just sketch some of the trees or the animals. And then sometimes the combination of the fresh air and doing a really quick sketch in your sketchbook rather than starting on a major project can really help spark that motivation to actually start a new project. And if you get to a park or a zoo and you're still not motivated to draw or paint, sometimes I just go and take photos of trees or leaves or animals that I may be able to use later for reference, because you never know, you may find that you've taken a perfect photo with great lighting and great contrast, and that might inspire you to actually draw or paint your own photo as well. So the main solution to artist block for me is to make sure that I always have a bank of ideas or photos to draw from when I can't think of anything to draw or paint. In terms of motivation, for myself, it could be a number of things. Having your workspace clean and organized can also inspire you to start creating. If your space is unorganized or messy, you'll be less likely to start because you have to go and clean up first. And for me, not feeling motivated or inspired is kind of an excuse. I mean, I understand because there are some days where I'm feeling very down and I really don't want to draw or paint, but for the most part, I just need to get off my bum and get to the easel or drawing board and start. If you are trying to make art your career or you have deadlines for your artwork, it's really important that you have the work ethic and self-motivation to just do it. You can't wait until you're in the mood all the time because you may never be in the mood. You can even set yourself a timer and say that you'll do 30 minutes. You'll probably find that once you've started, you'll have the motivation to keep going and you'll spend longer than 30 minutes there. It's just the first step of actually getting into the studio or getting to your drawing board that's the hardest step. Once you've started, you'll get into the swing of things and it'll be a bit easier to keep going. And once I'm actually in the studio, to keep me motivated, I like to listen to podcasts or audiobooks or music or watch something in the background while I'm drawing or painting. Sometimes telling yourself you can't watch a movie or listen to a podcast unless you are creating artwork can help inspire you to get started as well. And it may sound silly, but taking regular breaks from your artwork can really help you stay motivated as well. I try and set myself a timer, so whether it's 30 minutes or an hour, I always stick to that and then get up and walk around and have a stretch, get a coffee or get a glass of water, whatever you like, just to take yourself away from your studio for a few minutes and stop yourself from getting burnt out. And then put a timer on for the break that you've chosen to have and then go straight back to your artwork after that. And having a timer set and then having those short breaks in between really helps me refresh my mind and continue working on my artwork. So the supplies that I'm using for this piece were those Faber-Castell Graphite Aquarelle water-soluble graphite pencils. And I have to say that I'm not really a fan of them. I find that they dry really quickly and they leave a really harsh edge when they dry. And I've worked in other water-soluble mediums like the Derwent ink tints or just watercolor pencils, and I really love how they work. So I thought I'd try these and see if I like those. But yeah, they just don't work the same as the watercolor pencils or the ink tint. And the main issue that I had was creating a smooth blend. So once they're dry, you can't actually blend them anymore. They're set into the paper, and because it dries so quickly, I don't have time to blend it with the wet paintbrush either. I guess that can create an interesting effect, but I usually prefer mediums that I can actually blend together. Overall, it was pretty fun, but I do like the watercolor pencils or the Inktense pencils better, and I just prefer to use normal graphite or charcoal, or even just black watercolor to create this kind of look instead. And this piece was actually my second attempt because I screwed up the first one pretty badly. I didn't leave the white of the paper because I assumed that you could erase the graphite once it was dry, and it turns out that you can't. So make sure that you keep that in mind if you're trying out this medium to keep your whites white. I actually used a masking fluid to keep the white areas as white as I could. I hope that you guys can use some of these tips to inspire or motivate yourself, and if you have any other ways that you are inspired or motivated to get back to your easel, put them in the comments below because I'd really love to hear your ideas as well. I've put together a playlist on the screen that I think you might enjoy, so click on that and I'll see you over there.